got to put something on the board right here. Hits one to left center. At the wall. It is good. Target. High fly into right. Back at the wall. Into the ivy. That's a base hit to right. No play. The plate. Everybody's safe. 2-1. Comes on top. Strikes out. There he goes. Throw by Ross is in time. Inning over. David Ross. To the second baseman, Baez. Chapman out of trouble. It's the 30th of October. 2016. Second out. That will be a game 6. Cubs win it 3-2.
This is Cubs Postseason Live, presented by Fields Auto Group.
The calendar says it's November, but baseball is still red hot. We're back in Cleveland, Ohio. Another win or go-home game for the Cubs. They look to even up the World Series at 3 games apiece with a win tonight over the Indians and force a massive, deciding, epic Game 7 tomorrow. And welcome in to Cubs Postseason Live. I'm David Kaplan, alongside my longtime partner Todd Hollinsworth and the Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. We are getting you set and taking you up to first pitch. Cubs and Indians. Okay, boys, you guys both played postseason. You won a World Series, but this stage is as massive as it gets other than a Game 7.
Yeah, it is. How about these two teams? The Cleveland, obviously Cleveland Indians have a lot of history as well. Our Cubbies, man, they keep fighting. They fight to live another day, and that's what we're going to see tonight. So, I mean, you got to approach it that way. I don't think they go out there. I don't think they're going to be nervous. That same sense that I felt about the Indians at Wrigley Field, sometimes being, with your family, in the visiting, as the visitor, here at Progressive Field, like as a player, you can kind of say, you know what, nobody in this building's really for us tonight. Just go out there, play our game, and in some weird sort of way, it sometimes takes some pressure off of you a little bit. I actually believe there's more pressure on the Indians than the Cubs tonight.
Well, I believe that because obviously the Cubs were down, and now the Indians are trying to win that final game. It's not that easy to do, and I'm with you. I mean, the Cubs, big game the other day, Game 5. They put together almost a perfect game. They got everything they needed to do, and it was very exciting. They left Wrigley Field on a very high note. I think they carry that into this game without the distractions that you're talking about. Worried about if their uncle made it in the upper deck. Right. The aunts out there and down the third base line with the tickets. Some of the things that the Indians players could be thinking about, But then again, this is an epic game. One game away from the Big Daddy, which we want to get to. But Arrieta on the mound, I think the Cubs definitely like him out there for sure.
All right, we'd like you to weigh in as well. In a couple of minutes, we will give you our poll question. So go to csnchicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you, and you'll see the results when we give you the question as they tabulate right on your screen. Again, csnchicago.com/vote. Take a look at the Ameristar Casino Hotel starting lineups. And with the game being played here in Cleveland, DH is back in use. That means Kyle Schwarber could start again. Joe Maddon has Schwarber batting second as the team DH. Chris Bryant third, Rizzo 4, Zobrist 5, Russell in the 6th spot, Contreras behind the plate batting 7th, Hayward 8th, Javier Baez hits 9th. Interesting stuff. Let's go inside for more on our Coors Light Game Report. Here is our Coors Light Game Report. Here is Kelly Crow.
Well, hey guys, what a punch to the meat of the Cubs order. A move that should get Schwarber's lefty bat a few more chances against the righty. Tomlin, Schwarber 3 for 8 with 2 RBI in the World Series. But let's not forget the 2 walks he's also taken, a .439 on-base percentage, which Maddon has to love with Bryant, Rizzo, and Zobrist following him. But as far as it goes for the DH, he is just excited to be helping his team out once again on such a big stage.
We all wanted it the same amount, obviously, but I'm excited. You know, we're gonna be going back to Cleveland. We're gonna get another chance to keep the playoff lives, alive, and keep the dreams alive. So, you know, that's all we can ask for. Keep taking it a day at a time.
If you hit him fifth, I don't think they pitched to him at all. I think the fact that he showed so well in the first series, I would think in that series they pitched to him because, you know, he hasn't been not playing in a while. He's on the Arizona Fall League. He's been hurt all year. What could he possibly do? So I think that was the probably the attitude at that point. Now that he showed what he can do, I thought it was really important to protect him. So by slotting him into two-hole, the other three guys, Bryant, Rizzo, and Zobrist, are pretty much in that order always anyway. So just to slide him in there, I thought, makes him more pertinent possibly. That was it.
We were happy that we're back in the AL rules where you can have the DH. I'm sure they're pretty happy too. I mean, you can bet that if Dexter Fowler gets on, they're not going to bunt him over. I mean, he's a very potent bat that you got to keep track of. But so is Bryant, so is Rizzo. I mean, that's part of why they're good. So, you know, we know where he is, but we know where everybody else is too.
He's back, and I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to be in the lineup.
And one more good sign was Schwarber hitting second. The last time he did that in a road elimination game, he went 2 for 3 and dropped one in the Allegheny River. Remember that one? The wild card game against Pittsburgh with, Jake Arrieta on the mound in that one as well. We'll see if that bodes well for the Cubs once again this evening, guys.
All right, thank you, Kelly. So, you know, Terry Francona says, well, I can promise you if Fowler gets on, they're not bunting him over because Schwarber's in the two-hole. What is your guys' take on the role, the impact Kyle Schwarber could have on this baseball game?
Well, I mean, he's in the two-hole. I mean, I love it. I mean, let's envision, you know, ideally you get a lefty in the two-hole. Now, I know you can go Ben Zobrist there as well, and I don't think people would complain with that. You know, my idea is this. It's not for what you necessarily want to see early, even though, I mean, we expect, you know, Schwarber to put together great at-bats, that he's in there all the time, but he's actually potentially getting the most at-bats, much like Dexter Fowler. Those guys you got to have at the top of the lineup in the American League style potentially pick up the fifth at bat because you're going to hit 9 times a night regardless. So that matchup, yeah, you say, okay, well, I don't like the Miller one, but you know maybe ultimately like the Allen one better. You know, he ends up with a big at bat late in this ball game if it's tied up against their right-handed closer in Allen, and the way Schwarber's swinging the bat right now, that's the guy you want in that position.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I hit second. I loved second. Dexter Fowler's kind of key here. If he can get on base several times, I mean, I don't think Tomlin's going to go breaking balls in the dirt and slow hooks to Schwarber. You'll have to throw some fastballs, and once again, Schwarber will get the most out of his at bats. If he gets 5 or 6, he'll be up there at the top. So you put your best hitters up there so they get the most at bats and do some damage. Also, if they go to Miller, you got a switch hitter and Fowler. Breaking that up there with Bryant batting third, protecting Schwarber, so I like it very much.
When you were moved into the two-hole, and I know you've talked a lot about how Jim Fry said that we need to get more power out of you, Rhino, instead of ground balls, try and hit the ball on a line, and you were able to become a very proficient home run hitter in the two-hole. How did you change your approach? Is that a spot you think long-term fits a guy like Kyle Schwarber?
Possibly. I mean, left-handed hitter, if you get a man on base, the hole's there. You tend to get some fastballs pitched to you. They don't want to walk you and get to the 3, 4, 5 hitters. I looked at it as an offensive spot, not a move the ball over. I did hit the ball to right field, do some things like that. Fowler hits a double. I mean, Schwarber can pull the ball very naturally and do the job. As a right-handed hitter, I'd hit a ground ball that way or drive the ball the opposite way, drive them in, trade places with them, things like that. But I looked at it as an offensive position because I knew that Mark Grace, Andre Dawson, Jody Davis, Gary Matthews were coming up behind me. They don't want 2 guys on, so right. I'm gonna be ready to hit.
Right.
And if the leadoff hitter gets a pitch and it's a ball, I can take it. He can steal a base. If he's running and it's a good pitch, I can whack. I could hit it in the gap and score him from first base.
All right, your guys' take on Javy Baez down in the 9-hole. He had moved all the way up to the 5-hole because he was the NLCS MVP. He's scuffling offensively, so he is in the 9-hole tonight. What type of an impact can he have there?
Well, he can have good impact. I mean, this to me is not about Javy Baez, the swing, or anything else. Rhino, I know you're not going to disagree with me on this one. This is what's going on between the ears right now. Javy Baez is in his own mind. Mm-hmm. He's thinking too much, and he's up there trying to do too much, swinging at bad pitches. It's as simple as that. Joe Maddon can pass on the message. I can pull him aside, pass on the message. You could pass on that message. But unless he gets the message, it's not going to change anything. This is not mechanical. This isn't his approach, other than what he's thinking. And it's just being too flat-out aggressive. By putting him down in the lineup, a lot of times, you alleviate that pressure because you allow the guys at the bottom of the lineup to see what's going on. I always, at times, again, I floated a lot throughout my career. I'd hit 1-2 a lot. A lot of times I'd hit 5, 6, and 7. And when I was down in the lineup, I always saw a good opportunity to watch what the starter had that game, to kind of get into the flow of the game, see if a couple guys get on and see some pitches. That way I could game plan better. And when I was struggling, I a lot of times would go up there and just sit on a pitch. Hope that, he's throwing a lot of curveballs tonight. Maybe I'll go up there and sit on a curveball and try and shoot one the other way.
Absolutely. I mean, that's right on stuff. It does take away some pressure from him. He's down there nine-hole. His glove is in the game. I like that very much. But what I've seen is when you move a player down like that, that doesn't mean that he's not gonna come up in a big situation. Right. I've seen that time and time again, where he still may come up in a situation with second and third and one out and have a chance to do some damage. This is a full lineup here, 1 through 9, and he'll have a chance to do some damage. Being in the 9-hole sometimes takes one at bat away from a player that's a little bit cold, and you get the other guys that you want to get in the 5 at bats at the top of the order. But we'll see. I think he might be hiding down there and might sneak up on somebody down there. And I love the point about, Holly, you mentioning that he'll have 2 innings or 1 inning or 2 innings or at least 8 hitters to really focus in on the pitcher, see what he's doing, see how he's pitching the other right-handed bats, and then make that adjustment.
How about your guys' thoughts on no David Ross behind the plate? It's Wilson Contreras.
I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like it. I've been pretty strong about that. I mean, games like this with the game's on the line, a guy like David Ross is a guy that I trust, a guy that I've seen, a guy that I played with. And I mean, I'm speaking this as a former teammate. Rossi's in control. I see how this team listens to Rossi. I listen how this team rallies around Rossi. This isn't a knock on Wilson Contreras. It merely is, in these moments, your pulse, you need to kind of bring it down. It's easy to elevate and get excited in these moments, in this stage right here where the lights are the brightest, and kind of get revved up. I think Contreras is a heck of a ball player. I think that, there are moments where he has changed games for the Cubs, and he is a huge weapon and will be a future all-star probably for many years. But in a game like this, where the pressure is just intense, and you've got a guy like Jake Arrieta out there on the mound, the better numbers are actually with with Ross behind the plate with Arrieta. It's my guy.
I think it was the biggest choice that Joe had today on this lineup.
Yeah, I think so.
I've talked well about both guys all year, so I like both guys. Contreras, if he stays in control back there, I mean, he has the energy, but of course everybody has the energy. This is Game 6 of the World Series. He has a good arm, but he needs to be smart with that arm and use it right, use it under control, and he also makes some adjustments with the at bat, and he too gets a chance to see what the pitcher's throwing. He'll have to be patient on the breaking balls and stay back a little bit on this pitcher.
All right, we have got to give you our fan poll question. Here you go. See us at chicago.com/vote. No special app, no cost to you. Just vote. You'll see the results as they tabulate on your screen. Who's under more pressure to win tonight? Chicago Cubs or the Cleveland Indians? Who's under more pressure tonight? I think that the Indians are, simply because if they lose tonight, it's like, oh no, here we go again. The same thing we see in Chicago with the Cub fans.
I think the Indians as well. They're at home. I think that the Cubs can go out there, take the field, and relax, and just be in their own dugout and be their group in there and just rally amongst each other and not have some of the bothers that you have here playing at home.
I like the pitching matchup. Favors us heavily. Plain and simple.
Absolutely. Pitching dictates the game.
Well, and I know that Tomlin's in a different spot right now, and I've told you, we've all watched how he's evolved, that he's changed his game since being reinserted. But let's not forget the storylines. Jake is the reigning National League Cy Young Award
winner. And he won 18
winner.
games this year.
He won 18 games this year. He is still, I talked to all the guys that are around here, one of the most difficult guys to square up. Tomlin has, as I said, reinvented himself, but I still can't get past the fact that it's Mr. Tomlin versus Jake Arrieta, and I love the pitching matchup. Yeah, I think the pressure's on the Indians, plain and simple.
Right, we will see what happens. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll look at the pitching matchup specifically, and we'll be joined by the MLB Network's Kevin Millar, who won a World Series after being down 3-0 to the Yankees when he was a member of the Boston Red Sox. We'll come right back. You're watching Cubs Postseason Live, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group here on CSN.
Cubs Pregame Live is presented by Fields Auto Group. Fields matters because you matter. See Fields first. FieldsAuto.com.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Maddon Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season, with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Maddon signature vehicle, go to FieldsAuto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
The Chicago Cubs are in the World Series, and Wrigleyville Sports is the place for all your official gear. World Series t-shirts, sweatshirts, and the official locker room cap worn by the team, champagne not included. Pins, flags, collectibles, and toys for Cubs fans of any age. Everything you need to celebrate the Cubs' first pennant since 1945. Visit our store across from Wrigley Field or WrigleyvilleSports.com now. All right, it's 50 minutes till the start of the ball game. Still time to give Feldco a call, 866-4FELDCO. All right, welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live. I'm David Kaplan. He's Todd Hollingsworth. He's the Hall of Famer Ryan Sandberg. Time to take a look at our Apt Electronics Appliances starting pitching matchup. It's a good one. Jake Arrieta for the Cubs. Josh Tomlin, who was very, very good Friday night in 58 pitches in a 1-0 victory the other night at Wrigley Field. Jake last pitched Wednesday night here in Cleveland, took a no-hitter into the sixth. He would wind up giving up just 1 run on 2 hits in 5 2/3, and he looked like the Jake of old, Rhino.
He did. He was live with his fastball. He was ahead of the hitters. He got some early run support, which he likes, and he mixed his pitches very well. He looked like Jake Arrieta. So and I like the fact that he only threw about 100 pitches, and he's going on full rest. I think he'll be.
Got 5 days of rest.
He'll be ready to go. He's the right guy, and love to see him out there. He'll set a good tone for the Cubs.
Ollie?
I think we need to see. I mean, again, that fastball command. Honestly, Jake is one of the few guys that easily for me to say that if he went into the start and he told everybody, I only have 100 fastballs tonight, he'd go out there and probably dominate. That's how much movement he's got and how much velocity he really does have. But I do believe this. His secondary pitches are big. If he gets the Indians hitters to respect his secondary pitches, they just don't become easy takes, meaning they're not only worried about the slider and the fastball, he'll dominate tonight. And a lot of that is making sure that he stays ahead of hitters, throwing strike one. So again, watch early in the ball game, see where he's at mechanically, and then there's the unexplainable sometimes where he strikes out 2 guys in a row and he throws 4 or 5 balls in a row. I don't know. I still don't even know. I'm not even sure Jake knows how to answer when that little point happens. But Wilson Contreras is going to have to be great tonight at making sure when that little moment happens, and it usually happens once or twice a game.
Settle him down.
Get out there, talk to him, and settle him down. Right on.
All right, let's talk about Josh Tomlin. He only went 4 2/3 the other night, just 58 pitches, but he was unscored upon.
He was. He mixed his pitches very well. He's got breaking balls at different speeds. He throws 87 to. He throws 87, 88
miles an hour. Yeah.
He's got some movement. Two-seamer. He's got movement, but I think Terry Francona might keep a little eye on him because of his bullpen. I think Terry Francona's going to manage this game to win this game, not let it to go to 7. So I think there could be a short leash there with the horses there in the bullpen. But we want to jump on this guy early and often. Make him throw his breaking balls for strikes. Right-handers are going to have to maybe ease up a little bit, work up the middle. Left-handers, I see our left-handed bats being spots to do some damage to
The other thing that is different is he didn't have to deal with Schwarber. He had a pitcher spot in the lineup, which was Kyle Hendricks. It's a different type of challenge with Schwarber in the 2-hole.
Well, right, but I think we do still have to, throw respect his way. It's a great point. I absolutely agree. But you got to remember, he's gone up against Boston, and he's already gone up against Toronto.
Right.
He hasn't changed his game plan. He knows what he wants to do. What is so unique about Tomlin is that he's reinvented himself late in the year. Nobody does this, Rhino. Nobody goes from being a spot fastball cutter guy who gave up 36 home runs with a 4.4 ERA, who got yanked out of the rotation because he was struggling so bad, to a breaking ball specialist. That's what he has become. He's throwing 42% breaking balls right now. We saw his last start. He led with it. Came out of the chute with it.
Threw only 4 fastballs.
Dexter Fowler, right? I mean, this is what he's going to do. So to me, I look at it as, man, oh man, this is on the Cubs to make the adjustments. They're either going to have to get up on the plate and closer in the box to home plate and take back home plate, or start to shoot him the other way and be willing to let that ball get deeper. The adjustment, it's time for them, because I don't think he changes his game plan.
You cannot start swinging at pitches out of the zone. I get if it's that much off the plate, but we've got Javy, Wilson, who have been swinging at pitches that are way out there.
Yeah.
That can't happen tonight.
Well, a guy out there throwing a lot of breaking balls second time around. I hope to see some and plan to see some good adjustments.
Right.
It's not that easy for a breaking ball pitcher like that relies on that pitch to always throw quality ones on the corner at the knees. There'll be some hanging breaking balls in there. And those
got to whack them.
Those are the ones that I think our left-handed bats will really take advantage of.
All right, back inside Progressive Field. Here's Luke Stuckmeyer.
All right, thanks, Cap. It is buzzing inside Progressive Field, getting closer to Game 6. This is the 65th time in baseball history we've been at 3-2 in the Fall Classic. Just 33% of the time, the team with 2 wins coming into this game has gone on to win the series. So maybe the numbers say it's against the Cubs right now, but this team is as confident as we have seen them all season long. And earlier today, manager Joe Maddon ran into a good luck charm.
I did see my dad's hat in my bag today. That's probably I carry my dad's hat with me. He passed away in 2002. We won the World Series, and I have his old Angel hat in my bag since then. So it goes everywhere. So that was the one thing I'm relying on today is my dad. So I held on to his hat a little bit this morning, and that's probably the omen in a sense going into tonight's game.
Obviously, our confidence, I think it's the same. It's stayed the same throughout the whole postseason. Joe sets up the environment for us, like I've said before, where we come into the ballpark on any given day and we're focused on what we have to take care of that day. Yeah. So even going down 3-1, the game the other day, we came in, we know, okay, we got to win today. Coming in today, same mindset. We know we got to win today. If we take care of that, we'll take care of tomorrow.
But the thing I want our guys to really focus on is to win tonight's game. And that's all you can do. The controlling of the controllables, to not try to think in those terms. Those terms can only get in the way, like it's an elimination game. And no, just go play. Go play with what we've been doing.
And the Cubs get reigning Cy Young winner Jake Arrieta on the mound today. Of course, he won that must-win game against the Pirates last postseason, so he knows what an elimination game feels like. Might not be as dominant as he was back then against the Pirates, but he has just as much swagger. Arrieta oozes confidence, and the Cubs love that.
Jake, I think, inherently loves these kind of moments. It's always difficult to just look at him and see that because he's pretty much got the same expression regardless. But I think Jake likes to shoulder these kind of moments. I've only known him for 2 years now, but he did it for us last year. He really carried us in a way that kind of like John Lester's carried us this year. But he's definitely got it within him. I know he's ready. He keeps talking about wanting to pitch that next game, and here it comes. So I feel very strongly and good about him pitching tonight.
Cubs didn't have their greatest at-bats in their first meeting with Josh Tomlin in this World Series. Joe Maddon afterwards talking about he wanted them to check their strike zones. He said before this game he will talk specifically to Javier Baez and some of the players about their mental approach going into this, not making physical adjustments, just mental ones. Live inside Progressive Field, Luke Stuckmeyer. Cap will send it back out to you.
We continue Cubs postseason live on CSN outside Progressive Field, Game 6. Cubs try to win this one and force a deciding Game 7. With Todd Hollandsworth, I'm David Kaplan. Kevin Millar does great work on MLB Network. All right, what is your take on what we're going to watch here tonight? Because it's going to be epic.
It really is, man. I'll tell you what, these two teams have been awesome. They really have. We haven't had that one moment. You know, you're waiting for that one moment, like that big knock or big something go on. It's kind of like whoever scored first seems like they're going to win the game. Right. Chapman coming in for about 3 innings, let's just say about 3 innings the other night, was the first time I was like, what's going on, right? But he was amazing. But I think tonight there's going to be a moment. And I don't know where it's going to be, but there will be a moment tonight because we've been kind of waiting for that as a fan.
Do you think Chapman can do tonight what he did in Game 5? Do you think you can use him as long?
I don't think so. I don't think he's built that way. Obviously, I know Maddon and him have to talk about that. You're not just going to come in the 7th inning without letting big fella know. They tried to do it in L.A. He didn't like coming in, late in that game. He's usually give him the ball in the 9th and go. He's not built like Andrew Miller is. Miller was a starter. Miller kind of goes, and then Francona started this whole mess, I think, 2 weeks ago when he brought Andrew Miller in the 5th inning. Chapman's not Andrew Miller. Can he do it? Yeah, I'm sure he's going to say yes, but I don't know if that's where the Cubs want to be to try to do that again. That's not an easy thing what he went in and did. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not easy. And Chapman, 102 miles an hour in the command. He can miss wherever he wants. What an amazing job he did in Game 5.
What's your thoughts on the Joe West factor tonight? He has a smaller strike zone. It'll affect both teams. Will he be a factor at all, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, these are fun stories to write. I think every umpire has their own strike zone. Hirschbeck, he's a pitcher's umpire. As hitters, we couldn't stand him. Pitchers love him. Joe West, I think, is pretty fair. Does a good job behind the plate. He's not really, really tight, and he's not really, really wide. I think you're going to see Joe and where his strike zone is. Is it down or is it up? And go from there. But at the end of the day, the pitchers, when they execute with their game plans, and they're all right now in a hitter's meeting and a pitcher's meeting, they're going to execute their pitches. We're going to get out. When they hang and make mistakes, we get hits. So it's the pitcher to make less mistakes to the offenses.
Well, let's jump in those couple hitters meetings. You've done them throughout your career. I did them myself. What are you thinking going up against Tomlin tonight? What are your thoughts, making an adjustment going against him?
So if I'm the hitting coach for the Indians, I'm saying, listen, or for the Cubbies, I'm saying, listen, we got a strike thrower, period. One thing about Josh, he doesn't fear any big situation, and he thinks he's Roger Clemens out there. He's 5'10". He reminds me of Tim Hudson.
Right.
He just goes out there, competes, and you're going to have to beat him. You're going to have to get hits. You're going to have to do something. That's Tomlin. You go out there and be aggressive and hit. The Red Sox sat there and watched every first pitch fastball go by when he pitched in Fenway, and then Tomlin just mowed him right down. So I think the Cubs have seen Tomlin. They understand that. And now if I'm the Indians hitting coach and I'm facing Arrieta, I'm like, listen, this guy, everything he throws is hard. And at times his breaking stuff is usually strikeouts or out of the strike zone. So I'm just saying let's concentrate on hitting the fastball.
Right.
And let's concentrate, if you see it spin and you don't have to swing, let's take that and just look hard. So Arrieta stuff moves everywhere. And at times he can get out of the strike zone.
Right.
I think this is the one year. The last year he was like unbelievable. We saw stuff that you'd never seen. This year he almost kind of humanized himself, but still had an unbelievable year, but it's because of the command.
When you look at Schwarber up to the 2-hole in the lineup, do you like that?
I do. I love it. I love getting our hitters up. When I say our hitters, your best hitter that you feel, and right now Schwarber in this little 6-game series or 5-game series, only played 2. He's probably your best hitter right now for the Cubs. I mean, you saw the electricity he brought, got a 3-0 count single, hasn't played in 6 months, up the middle. Swinging 3-0 is not easy, guys. Right? It's not an easy thing. You got to be locked in.
Right.
He steps up in the World Series and got a base hit, so I like him getting up as much as you can. I think Joe Maddon does also.
Let me ask you about the catching situation. I mean, we know the lineup's out already. Wilson Contreras is in there, but I wanted to get your take. I know you know Rossi the way I know Rossi. Are you kind of surprised that the old vet's not back, in there in Game 6 tonight? I kind of am a little bit. I just wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Toddy, I thought they should catch Rossi his next 3 games, period. He gives me that security blanket as a veteran, not going to make the mistake. The one thing about Contreras, and this kid's going to be an all-star for many years to come, he's still raw behind the plate. You're seeing him throw the bases 5-6 times a game. It takes one bounce off the helmet into left field, down the right field line. You're going to see some forced errors. You haven't picked up anybody. He's got a great arm, but I don't need to see it every single inning. If he's out, pick him off, get him out. But I don't want to see that every inning because
that's why I asked you.
You're talking about something. So Rossi gives me a security blanket.
Right.
He gives me a security blanket. So I would have thought last 3 days that you would see Ross there. You're not. But this kid's a talent, and he could hit 2 home runs tonight out of nowhere also.
The Cubs offense has been shaky in the World Series. We have in the NLCS, they got shut out back-to-back, and then they get 8 and whatever the other big crooked number was that they got. Do you see a scenario where their offense could break out tonight?
Yeah, you feel that because of the lack of velocity that Tomlin has, so we always want to jump onto that. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot like what Kyle does in Game 7 tomorrow if this is forced. They spot their fastball, and they have great command of their pitches. So I don't know if you're going to see a breakout. We want to say that because you're seeing 87, 88 on the radar gun. But these guys work down the zone. They mix up their pitches. I just think the Cubs need to hit with guys on base, and they haven't done that.
Give us a prediction for Game 6. What do you see happening?
Well, my heart, I got my neighbor John Laggy down the road. My family's rooting for the Cubs. Dad's rooting to get home because we've been on the road.
Right.
So now Chris Rose, who I did the show with, he's a big Indians fan.
Right.
Prediction tonight, I think Arrieta beats him. I think Arrieta beats him. It's a nice night. Last time pitch it was cold. We'll see what happens.
Thanks for your time.
All right,
appreciate it.
People can catch you with Chris Rose every day on MLB Network.
Every day. I wish we had a couple months off. Can we get that?
You need a new agent. There you go. There he is, Kevin Millar. Holly and I will be back with a whole lot more. It's Cubs Postseason Live on CSN.
Fix Auto, the first words that should come to mind after an accident.
This Cubs Injury Report is brought to you by ATI Physical Therapy, taking physical therapy to a higher level. Ask your doctor about ATI Physical Therapy. Get there.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
For the most Cubs coverage, go to csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Wintrust.
How did DirecTV build the first-of-its-kind channel dedicated to fantasy football live on Sunday? They put together a team of in-studio experts with insightful in-game analysis of Sunday's biggest plays as they happen. Plus the latest NFL.com stats, injury news, and storylines that affect your lineups. Stay connected to the source on your favorite device while your team is on the big screen. All in a Sunday's work. Only NFL Sunday Ticket Max gives you the DirecTV Fantasy Zone. Upgrade your Sundays this fall. Channel 704.
Well, I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible for the city. Just historically, you look at the amount of years it's been. It's historical. I think it's. You look at them X amount of years ago when Theo came in. I mean, it's a building process, and they've done a tremendous job. Both on the personnel side, and the coaching side, and I'm hoping they get a chance to make history. So. I'll be rooting for him.
All right, it's time once again for you to get interactive with our show. Be sure to get your mobile laptop or tablet ready. Head to csnchicago.com/vote. You do not need a special app. Just visit that website. Get interactive with me, Holly, and Rhino. We're asking you this. If he's needed tonight, how long do you think Aroldis Chapman will pitch? Your choices are 3 outs or fewer, 4 to 6, 7 outs or more. What do you think, guys? How do you vote, Rhino?
I'd go the max. I mean, this is Game 6. I think he'll go as needed. I'd like him in. I think I could see him going 2 innings. I could.
He's told
42 pitches.
He's available for that at least.
42 pitches, I think that would be that'd be real comfortable. And with Arrieta on the mound, that could be a very reasonable task for him. But with the 42 pitches that he threw the other night, I think he's in shape for 2 innings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go 2 innings because I think that's exactly what he's probably good for. And I also want to add this in, Cubs fans at home, watch this. I think this is an interesting dynamic, right? This is a must-win for us. This isn't necessarily a must-win for the Cleveland Indians. Bullpen usage tonight will be very interesting to my eyes. I am so curious to see how Terry Francona is going to do this. I mean, I think I have an idea how he's going to do it, but at the same time, Joe, you got to manage all hands on deck. But here's the deal. You win tonight, what do you got? You got a Game 7 tomorrow. You got to make sure that if Aroldis Chapman goes out there for, let's say, 55 pitches tonight and we see him go 3+ innings,
then he's probably on a no-fly list tomorrow.
That's my point, right? So you have to watch this closely. I am so curious to see this game. I'm already getting goosebumps already just because things like that are going to play tonight, and I think it's going to be pins and needles all game long.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, who is on that. Okay, Jake went 6. Who's coming in next? Is it Montgomery? Is it Stroh?
Yeah.
Is it Carl Edwards? What comfort level does Joe have with the other guys other than Chapman?
Well, and it's a great question because I don't think it's there where it was all season long. And I think part of that is, listen, I mean, you can make the same case with the Indians and say, well, you know, Terry Francona's not using the rest of his bullpen outside of Miller and Shaw and Allen. But at the same time, you know, you look at our bullpen right now, and who is not feeling it? I keep asking that question. Do you trust our bullpen the way that we watched that factor in all season? And I got to believe that I'm not sure you do. And I don't know how it's gotten to this point, but I'm already, like, Rondon was better as a closer, and he seems to be struggling in the 8th inning. I think there are legitimate questions with the way the bullpen's operating right now. I know it's postseason baseball. You're going to have to ask these guys to get you an out, but I think by shortening the workload, that's probably going to be your answer. I don't think you're going to see any heroes down there outside of Chapman. You're going to ask the whole group to get you one out at a time.
Right. So that's key for the starting pitching. Arrieta tonight, hopefully Hendricks tomorrow.
You got to take him deep.
And some guys have to step
I
up.
agree.
It's going to be a team effort. There's 2 games left. Some guys have to step up in the Cubs bullpen.
Do you know how you alleviate all that? You score runs. I'm not saying you're going to score 15 of them, but you score runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I'm a big fan of that. The whole
7-2 leading to 6 would be real nice, right?
Runs.
Yeah,
especially early.
That would be good.
Yeah,
yes.
you would breathe a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So
we need a couple managers' best friend, a couple of 3-run bombs.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh, man. Sit back and go, whoa, I'll take that. 4 to 6 outs is the winner of our poll question. So, again, 4 to 6 outs is what you people expect. Chris Bosio said we expect to be able to get at least 2 innings. That's what they're planning, 2 innings from Aroldis Chapman. All right, here's the Indians lineup. Terry Francona brings this card out to home plate, hands it to Joe West tonight. Santana, the DH, leads off. Kipnis at second in the 2-hole. Lindor at shortstop. Napoli at first. Ramirez at third. Chisenhall in right. Crisp is in left. Naquin is in center. And Perez in the 9-hole, the catcher. You guys surprised they're going with Crisp instead of Rajai Davis?
I am not. I think they're just trying to put together at bats. He's a good defensive outfielder. He's had a big moment already.
Take a lot of speed out of the lineup.
Yeah, you do, but Crisp is no slowpoke either, though. I mean, I understand your point, but again, Crisp is it's a different dynamic. Part of it is that do you want Santana at the top? Let's remember, Rajai Davis did have a nice Game 5, but again, I don't know how much you trust him. And again, you do have to, you can factor him in late like Terry's been doing the entire time. I know that Davis has been more of the answer, but Crisp, again, has been an answer and has come up with big hits and big home runs as well this postseason.
Francona's got his guys stacked at the top with Santana there. Maybe looking for the bottom of the order to come up and then Santana have a spot there to drive him in. But once again, Santana, Kipnis, Lindor grouped at the top. Santana getting the most at bats up there. But with those guys, we have to get some outs up there. Don't let them hit together like they did. They're effective when they hit together. It's called a rally. And so we gotta get some outs with those 3 guys. And then also work with the bottom of the order.
It's stacked lefties. I mean,
no
Crisp's
question.
in there because he's lefty. Chisenhall, I mean, that's the left-handed lineup.
Kipnis.
Yeah, all of them, yeah.
You also have Francisco Lindor, who is hitting .421 in the World Series. The moment has not been too big for him.
It has not. And again, you've got to, and I think that at this point, Rhino, you know this as well, when a guy gets hot as he is right now, you've got to, you've heard it 2 ways. What do we do to eliminate him? And I've always been a believer that you don't just, focus in on a hot hitter because, I think back to the base that he had against John Lester. It was at his letters. It was a 2-strike pitch. I mean, he's locked in Cappy. I mean, this isn't a guy that you're just going to say, okay, we'll just throw him nothing to hit and avoid him. But what you end up doing is you got to make sure that the guys around him in the lineup have less impact. That's where you got to go. You got to make sure that what damage he's doing is with nobody on base, and that you can try to limit what's going on around him, because right now, the way he's seeing the baseball, he's in a really good spot, and you almost just have to admit to yourself, avoid him at all costs if you can, but try to control the guys around him.
Right. For me, it's like Game 5. Arrieta's got to look at it pitch by pitch. Every pitch is important. The guys before Lindor, the guys after him, the bottom of the order, I mean, you can't. Game 5, I was at the edge of my seat as 42,000 fans were every single pitch.
It was amazing.
Looking for a 2-1 count or a 1-2 count, that was like a big deal throughout for 9 innings. This is a similar thing. So focus on the whole lineup. Go your best stuff. Arrieta is the guy for that task, and I think he's really going to come after this lineup.
All right, we got to take another timeout. We'll come back. We have more to do. The guys will give us their keys, and we'll give our key performers, and we'll get you set. So don't go anywhere. We've got more to get you set for this epic Game 6. You're watching Cubs Postseason Live, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group on CSN.
How's it going? Hi. Today we're going to be comparing the roll-formed high-strength steel bed of the Chevy Silverado to the aluminum bed of this competitor's truck.
Awesome. All right, let him drop.
Let's see how the aluminum bed of this truck held up.
Wow. That's a good-sized puncture. That's all the way through, for sure. Full-on crack here. If you're aluminum now, you're going to go, ugh.
Let's check out the Silverado steel bed.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple dents.
I'd expect more dents.
Chevy clearly held up better than the Ford.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
You've waited long enough to replace your old windows, siding, and doors. Now it's time to call the Midwest's leading home renewal company.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Right now, save 20% on all energy-efficient windows, siding, and doors. Plus no money down and no interest until 2018.
20% off all Feldco products and soon. Call now. For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. We've prepared a Joe Maddon Signature Edition vehicle. It will be raffled off at the end of the season, with the proceeds going to many of Joe's favorite charities.
But not before I have the pleasure of driving it to and from the ballpark. Thank you, Dan, and everyone at Fields Auto Group for this special vehicle and for making this all possible.
For official raffle rules and complete details on how you can win this Joe Maddon signature vehicle, go to fieldsauto.com.
It is an honor for Fields Auto Group to help good causes like Cubs Charities and Misericordia. Fields matters because you matter.
Time for Built for Business, presented by Comcast Business. And today we're looking at the numbers Terry Francona put up when he was member of the Cubs back in 1986. That season, Francona appeared in 86 games at .250 with 3 doubles, 2 homers, and 8 RBIs. Altogether, Francona spent parts of 10 seasons playing in the big leagues. His other teams were the Expos, Reds, Indians, and Brewers. Comcast Business, built for business. Welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live here on CSN. The Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg and 1996 National League Rookie of the Year Todd Hollandsworth. I'm David Kaplan. Let's talk about the home plate umpire. You guys have had experience with him. In fact, in September, Joe West, they call him Country Joe West, ejected Joe Maddon and Terry Francona. What type of a role does he play tonight?
Well, he's the home plate umpire, and as far as the players are concerned, I don't think you can worry about it too much, other than the knowledge that they know about Joe West, what type of strike zone he is. I remember him. You have to throw the ball over the plate, and then he may adjust as the game goes on, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised that he's put in this situation with these two teams that have waited for decades and decades to get to the World Series, and that he's doing a behind the plate umpiring job. I mean, I just hope that he doesn't become a spectacle and make it about him, because he has that capability.
Do you remember what? I'm asking you this question because I don't remember, but it was something that Joe Maddon was doing when Joe West was behind the plate the day that Joe Maddon got tossed. What was going on that game?
It was
a no-hitter that was broken
right.
up.
Was it a no-hitter?
Yeah, the crowd was into it, and he wanted some time.
It was Kyle Hendricks, I think, on the mound.
Kyle Hendricks, that's what it was. And Joe came out there and broke it all up and made a spectacle of the whole thing.
Correct.
And we all said, what in the world is going on? See, that's the big problem that Joe is always.
It was after he gave up the first hit.
This has chased Joe around throughout his career, right after he gave up the first hit. And that's really the problem with Joe West, is the fact that it has become that his name, that we all know his name. As I told you, I said to Mars, I called her about an hour ago, and I said, who do you like tonight? My wife, Marcy, and we started talking about, the game tonight. She said, Jake Arrieta's going to be great. He's going to throw fastballs. He's going to dominate. And I said, I'm absolutely with you. I said, there's an X factor in this, and it's not Kyle Schwarber. And I said, it's an umpire. Can you name him? And you know what my wife, a baseball wife, said? Joe West. She knew. So there you go. To your point, I don't think you know. What you do is you learn to not look back, try not to say too much, and just go about your business.
All right, back inside. Kelly is with Javy Baez.
All right, well, Javy, why don't you tell us what the biggest challenge is going from an elimination game to another elimination game to what you hope is another elimination game?
Well, we just gotta play the game right, do the little things and win one game at a time.
I saw Joe Maddon out there with you a few minutes ago right before batting practice. I know he said he wasn't going to say a lot to guys today, but what was his message to you?
Just working on my mechanic and my approach. We've been watching a little video. I've been struggling these last couple of days. But I feel good, having fun out there and try to get back on track.
What do you think about being in that 9-hole and the having, of course, Dexter right behind you?
Really, it's really important. Without the pitcher here is a big thing for us. We got Schwarber back in the lineup, and hitting 9 is like a little guy, and hopefully I can get on base for Dex or whoever is out there.
You thought Schwarber hitting the ball's carrying pretty well tonight for you guys.
Yeah, the ball is flying pretty good. But we gotta make contact and do the smallest thing first.
You look a lot more relaxed tonight. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. We are. As a team, we are. Like I said, we just gotta go out there and do the little things, have fun, and try to win or going home.
We always have fun in these interviews with you, Javy. Thank you so much for a few minutes of your time.
Thank you.
Guys.
That's what I thought.
All right, time for another break on Cubs Postseason Live, presented by the Fields Auto Group. When we return, we will talk some Cubs defense with our guys. And don't forget, before we get out of here, keys to the game, key performers, and a little bit more. We'll be right back. You're watching CSN.
The three-pointer. 1, no money down. 2, no payments for 90 days. 3, no interest for 72 months. At McGrath City Hyundai, when you do the math, you'll choose McGrath. McGrath City Hyundai, give us a shot.
With a curved ultra-high-definition screen, Samsung's SUHD TVs give you a brighter picture and the most brilliant colors for the best viewing experience. It's Samsung's best TV, and it's here at Apt Electronics. Available in screen sizes from 48 to 88 inches. Come see it today. Guaranteed low prices, unbeatable selection, and free local delivery. Apt. Pleasing people since 1936.
Call you back. Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart. Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there.
What a day.
With car insurance for when things go wrong.
What a day!
But also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Did you know slow internet can actually hold your business back? Say goodbye to slow downloads, slow backups, slow everything. Comcast Business offers blazing fast and reliable internet that's 10 times faster than slow internet from the phone company. Say hello to internet speeds up to 150 megabits per second. And add phone and TV for only $34.90 more a month. Call today. Comcast Business. Built for business.
The layup. Drive a 2017 Hyundai Elantra for just $99 a month. It's as easy as a layup at McGrath City Hyundai. When you do the math, you'll choose McGrath. McGrath City Hyundai. Give us a shot.
Cubs fans can be found all over the world. For example, Zugspitz, Germany, where a couple of Cubs fans raised the W flag at the highest point in that country. Hopefully they'll be raising the flag 2 more times this week. And welcome back to Cubs Postseason Live. He's Todd Hollinsworth. He's Ryan Sandberg. I'm David Kaplan. In fact, my stepson, who's 26, flew from Ho Chi Minh City. He lives in Vietnam. Landed Sunday at 1:30, right to Wrigley for the game. In the car this morning with my niece Zoe, and boom, they are inside the stadium, and he flies back to Vietnam tomorrow.
Amazing. Trooper. Wow.
That is
Trooper.
amazing.
Commitment.
Die hard. He said it's going to be epic. I can't miss it.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
All right, let's talk about the defense. Cubs defense has been historic. It's been great. Had a couple hiccups during the World Series the other night, but having Javy, Addison Russell, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, you have a really, really solid defensive game plan.
Well, I think Game 5 was won with the defense. It was a tight game. We had good pitching, but we had some good defense also. Anytime you play good defense, you're keeping potential runners off the base. The pitchers love it. Less runs going up on the board, so the offense loves it. But this team's done it all year. They're a defense, a team that's built for defense. One of the big points why they're here in the World Series for me.
Hey, listen, defense is about effort, Rhino. You know that as well as I do. You did it at the highest level in your repeated Gold Glove winner. But understanding defense is real simple. I always believed it was about the effort and the willingness to do it. I mean, if you thought that you were going to be a good defender and you wanted to be a good defender, you will be a good defender. It's all about, applying yourself to it. And this team has. Tonight, I know that we all hope that the Cubs, and we've all admitted this out loud, that the Cubs win this ball game 7-2 and that they hit 2 3-run homers. I'm all about that. But let's be honest, this series hasn't really gone that way. And what probably will happen is that you'll see a defensive game. So how important is that defense going to be? The one thing Joe Maddon has absolutely drilled into these guys is that defense doesn't quit. Bats cool off. At bats and strikeouts happen. But you know what? If you're out there and you have a defensive game like you did in Game 5, you got a great chance of winning a ball game.
All right, our last time out, we'll come back. We'll get Holly's keys to the game, Rhino's key, and then we'll pick our key performers, and we'll send you off to baseball. You're watching Cubs Postseason Live, and you are locked on CSN.
For a truly great sandwich, choose Mr. Submarine. With only the tastiest meats, cheeses, and garden-fresh veggies on Toronto bakery bread, dive into deliciousness with Mr. Submarine.
This one has amazing gas mileage, but I think this one is more my style. But then again, maybe this one is more my style. What to do?
Now, at Continental Motors, there's a 3-day exchange policy on all used cars.
Wow, 3 days, really?
Yeah, 124 hours.
No, 3 days is 72 hours.
Well, not if you're using the metric system.
No, still the same.
Even if you carry the...
72 hours.
So then 3 days. Grab your phone and come check out our unbeatable online selection at ContinentalMotors.com.
Every night, get ready for the most dynamic show in Chicago. This is Sportsnet Central. Every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight. This Cubs Injury Report is brought to you by ATI Physical Therapy, taking physical therapy to a higher level. Ask your doctor about ATI Physical Therapy. Get there.
I've always believed that caring for families is the best way to keep our community healthy and safe, which is why I do things like provide opportunities for children to learn through the Reading Buddies program, help fund child safety programs, and give to the homeless. It's also why I got into personal injury law. It gives me the opportunity to help people at a time of tremendous loss, because helping injured people win justice is its own reward.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Anthony Rizzo had Rocky playing on every TV in the clubhouse before Game 5, and he came around shadow boxing with his teammates. When he hit a double, he was at second base, giving the Rocky moves. Hopefully he came up with an inspirational tactic that works equally as well. Holly time, your keys to the game brought to you by the Fields.
Well, let me take this opportunity real quick. We just heard this place erupt with a Let's Go Cubs. We are in Cleveland, right? Just
yeah,
make
we're across the street, too.
I'm proud of our showing so far. I haven't even seen what's going on in there yet, and I'm already excited. All right, here you go. Tomlin adjustments. I'll be real quick about it, real simple. Cubs hitters, you've got to either, listen, 17 at-bats against them the first time they saw them. 12 of those at-bats, you pulled them. No results. Didn't anything, a couple of hard hit balls, but no results. No hits, barely any runs. Nothing was working right. Here's what you got to do. You're either going to go up there, you're going to let the ball travel, go up the middle, go the other way, or you're going to move up on that plate and move up in the box and take away that breaking ball. That adjustment has to be made. They've got to be able to put together better at-bats against Tomlin. That's big for me tonight. Arrieta fastball command, that's key number 2. It always is in his starts. Listen, he's been really, really good. I expect him to dominate. He's the one guy in this rotation that can miss out over the plate at times and still get great results, but he can't live out there. The one thing that stood out to me in his last start, more fly balls than ground ball outs. I know it was only 5-2, but still that said something to me. Is his two-seamer moving the way that it should be? Keep an eye on that as well. He's great when he's getting tons and tons of ground balls. Last key, obviously, for me is Chapman. How will he be used tonight? But let me also throw in the rest of this Cubs bullpen. If it's Arrieta in 6, I mean, again, listen, I know Jay can go 9, but if he doesn't and he only goes 6, you got to get to Chapman somehow.
For me, the Cubs have to score to win, and I want that early run support for Jake. Top of the order. Love our lineup with Schwarber in there. It's a American League built lineup, but it's our Cubs lineup, and I look for some early runs. Primarily starting at the top of the order right away.
All right, key performer you won the other night. Who do you want?
Well, I'm going to keep rolling, go for 4 in a row, and go with Schwarber. Why not?
All right, who do you want?
The man that's going to set up Schwarber, Dexter Fowler, on base, score some runs.
All right, he goes Fowler, he goes Schwarber.
Anthony Rizzo?
Think I'm going to go Anthony Rizzo? I am not.
What?
I am going to go with Ben Zobrist. He won a World Series last year with Kansas City. He is a veteran, calming presence. Ben Zobrist is going to be the key performer
Tremendous
tonight.
pick. I'm all about the Ben Zobrist pick. I'm just shocked. I mean, is the Rizzo Foundation going to be okay with that?
They'll be okay.
They're all 3 going to do well, by the way.
There you go. After the game, dial right back here as soon as the game goes final. The 3 of us will be here ready to roll, hopefully talking about a Cubs victory. Cubs and Indians, it's coming up. You have a wonderful rest of your night. Enjoy the game, everybody. We'll see you after the ballgame.